Hello, hello! David Snowpick here from Snowpick Games. Welcome to the stream. How's everyone doing this week? It's been a crazy week. It's been a crazy week in game dev. How are you guys holding out? How are your projects going? Playing anything cool? I actually have not been playing like any, well not any, but very little video games this week. I've just been playing some Population 1 here and there. Hello, The Clean! Welcome! Whoa, you are all armored up. Your character is suited up and ready to go to war. Wow. Yeah, I still haven't had a chance to really play Starfield. I don't know if anyone's played that. I keep sitting down to play it, and I'll get like 20 minutes in before my children reclaim the TV. And so I've made it maybe an hour and a half into it in these little tiny increments, and it just has totally not hooked me, and I don't know. I need to spend some time on it. Hey Remy, good morning. It's definitely the morning by me. I don't know what time it is for everyone else watching. But yeah, I guess the big news of this week is the Unity stuff. What's going on with Unity and their new runtime fees, putting the whole world into a tizzy, or I guess the whole game dev world. Because I mean, it affects like a lot of people's livelihood, their ability to stay in business. So yeah, I don't know if anyone has any thoughts on that. Otherwise, I mean, we are very Godot focused in this streamosphere. We don't have to dwell on it. But yeah, I feel like that's all the news, all of the discussion, all of the things that have been going on this whole week has been centered around that. AKA free marketing, says free Godot marketing, says Remy. Yeah, I mean, in overall, I think this proves the point that a game engine developed by a community that is open source, that has no license fees, is better for game devs in the long term. And it is cool that everyone's first thought is Godot. Let's go check out Godot. So that's awesome. I mean, it sucks though. Like indie game devs who are just like getting by, trying to do their thing, are now going to be hit with this either massive fees or massive time investment to figure out like a new thing to do. So I mean, yeah, it's great that like we can be like, hey, we've been saying this the whole time, that you should probably be not depending on a company who can change what they're doing at any time. And Godot, it's awesome, is receiving most of the attention for that, but I'm sure, you know, like O3D and Monogame and like lots of other open source engines are also going to get a bunch of new users and new attention in this way. Anyway, a lot of people this week lost sleep over this. It's really sad for them. Yeah, it's sad for everybody because like indie games that you were excited for might not happen. Indie game companies that made a really cool game might not make their second one. Like it's no good. But yeah, I don't know. We'll keep doing what we're doing. And I am a little bit worried in the sense that with all the sort of like rage quitting of Unity that people are threatening, or at least like experimenting with, that they're going to come to Godot and be like, what is this? I just wanted Unity but free. And like, Godot isn't that. It got its own kind of way of doing things, and Godot 4 is not as mature as it could be. I mean, as it will be. Like Godot 3 is still super mature, and Godot 4 is still probably got like a little time to go here. So it makes me a little bit nervous in that regard. But yeah. Anyway, let's get started on some stuff. Ooh, I don't need to be showing my checklist. So we have been working for many streams on adding hot reload to GDExtension, which I don't know how much background I need to give. How many people is your first time coming here? I don't know. I don't know who's watching. You got to tell me if you're watching. You got to say something in the comments. Let me know who you are and you're watching and what like your deal is, man. But yeah, GDExtension is a technology that allows you to make extensions to the Godot engine in C++ or Rust or Python or Lua or whatever other programming languages that are then dynamically loaded into Godot. Right now, there's a limitation that if you make a change to your extension, you have to restart the Godot editor for that change to be visible in the editor. It will be visible to your game immediately when you hit the run button, but in Godot, adding properties to your node types and manipulating those properties in the editor is important, and none of that stuff will appear in the editor without restarting the editor. So we're getting really close to getting at least the basics of this merged. We have 2-3-ish weeks until the feature freeze for Godot 4.2. So that basically means we have to get this reviewed, approved, and merged in 2 or 3 weeks to get into 4.2. Otherwise, it's 4.3 or beyond material. I personally, I think it's ready to be merged, even though it's not perfect and there's some crashes and stuff, because it's opt-in. I will definitely be making this argument to the production team in about 2 weeks. I can test it out on you guys, see if you find this convincing. But it's opt-in. It's relatively self-contained. We can always fix bugs as time goes on. So I would be for merging it. But anyway, I've been trying to get people to test it. Because it is working in my limited testing. 2 people have tested. Unfortunately, both of them experienced crashes, but both of them have very complex GD extensions that are doing things maybe a little bit not totally standard. And it kind of sucks that was, the people that managed to test, because if maybe some people who had done more standard GD extensions had tested, they were like, yeah, it's great, and that would have gotten us closer to merge. But it's also good. It's also good because we do need to support people who are doing complex and maybe not totally standard GD extensions. So thank you to everyone who has or will test this functionality, because it does make it better. But yeah, so basically, 2 people have tested. It didn't quite work. I have not had as much time as I would like to dig into that. I have been going back and forth with one of the people, and I feel like we're getting kind of close there. But both of their extensions are open source, so I can download them. I can try to test it and see what's going wrong, which we're going to do on this stream, I hope. So what I'm thinking for the stream is, first, I would like to try hot reload with my main GD extension, which is SG Physics 2D. It's a deterministic 2D physics engine for Godot, which I made for use with rollback netcode, and I have a rollback netcode add-on for Godot also. Anyway, I haven't actually tested it with my own extension, which is funny, because you'd think that'd be the first thing I'd do. But I'm not actually interested in hot reload for this extension. It doesn't really need it. I'm not writing gameplay code when I'm working on SG Physics D. I'm working on engine code. So I don't need it to hot reload. Whatever, it's not a problem. So I haven't tried it, but I'm going to try it here and see if there's any problems. And if there are, it should be much easier for me to fix than these other GD extensions, which are complex, created by other people. It might not be as easy for me to see what the problems are. So first thing, we're going to try using hot reload with SG Physics D. If that works, or if we hit problems and we fix them, then we're going to move on to trying this debug draw 3D GD extension, which I've been working with the maintainer a little bit, going back and forth, trying to get things working for him. Possibly we will have learned something when getting it working for SG Physics D that will help in that situation. And then after that, the other person who tested was actually on Discord here, and I feel bad for not getting back to them right away, but it's just been crazy. It's just been crazy, these 2 weeks or whatever. But they are doing all of their game programming code for their game in GDExtension, which is interesting. It's a really interesting experiment. And man, I cannot seem to find the link right now for their code, but we will dig it up when we get there and try that and see if we can get it to work. Yeah, I'm just not finding this right now. Where the heck? Anyone who is a regular on my Discord, if you could help me find this link, that would be very much appreciated. This must be the general IQ drop that happens when I go on stream. As soon as the camera's pointing at me and recording, I just get 50% dumber. Yeah, it might be overlap, but what I really want to find is the code. Oh, and it wasn't Remy's crash, which I did look into, and I think we have a fix for, by the way, Remy. If you haven't checked out that, I made a PR that was already merged. But yeah. I think it is Orlac. Where's the link to his project? Godot roguelite. Someone may have just sent me that, but I found it independently in the Discord. let me move that over to a screen where we can look at it. Oh, Remy found it too. Probably before me, because I'm slow. But yeah, so then this will be the next thing to take a look at. So first things first, let me look at what everyone else has been saying in chat, because I have not been keeping a very good watch out. Oh, hey, Ricardo, welcome to the stream. Remy says, we'll try Hotly Reload soon. Happy that, 18576 was merged. That was just what I was talking about. Sorry, I was probably talking about it as you were messaging me in the chat, but because I had scrolled the window up, I wasn't seeing what you're saying. Yeah, cool. So I told this to compile before the stream started, but let's just run my SG Physics 2D test project, make sure it comes up, see what happens. Ricardo says, do you know if there's an example of a GDExtension using another dynamically loaded library? I've been trying to move to GDExtension. My project's dependency has a complex build system. So, dynamic. There probably are. Ooh, we crashed right away. I wonder what's going on there. We'll debug that in a moment. So CPP script does it doesn't link to another library, but it loads like real time another library, and that seemed fine. I think like just dynamically linking, not like DL open, but just the normal like -L linking, should just work. I mean, the challenge you'll have is like on Linux, for example, it won't find the library that you've told it to link unless the LD library path environment variable is set. Usually you have to like set it to just dot so that it'll find libraries that are next to the executable, which is probably the case when you've exported your game. But I think that's the challenging part. On Windows, I don't know the rules for that. I think the DLLs might have to be in the same directory as the thing that they're linked against for the dynamic linker to find them. But yeah, I don't off the top of my head know of an example, because like the WebRTC native GDExtension, I'm pretty sure statically links the against libdata channel, which it uses. We could check fairly easily. Nope, not here. Here. Oh, and of course I already have it. Let's just take a peek at this real quick. So that is WebRTC native GDExtension. Yeah, it looks like it statically links. But yeah, I don't think the challenge is the linking. I think the challenge is the loading in the end, which has to do with system-dependent stuff. Anyway, let's see what's happening here. Why are we crashing? Oh, I wonder if I'm running with the wrong version of Godot. Let's go look at my launch JSON in here and see what we're launching with. Or no, it's launching the custom-built Godot with our test project in the editor. Intriguing. So I did just rebuild this with the hot reload stuff. I'm very surprised that it like crashes on loading. That is not something I saw even when trying those other folks' projects. It would load fine, and then when I replaced the library on the hot reload, then everything would crash. Why is this crashing for me here? Let's look at what's going on. So it's adding our editor plugin, cast to editor plugin, cast to on the dynamic cast. It's exploding. It's very, very strange. We're running the right version of Godot. Let's just try rebuilding in case like I failed to rebuild. The camera's brightness went way up for some reason. Oh yeah, I'm like all washed out. I don't know what that's about. That's like some auto adjust thing, or maybe the sun just moved into the perfect position. I haven't managed to figure out how to do the dynamic linking in the construct. I could check if static linking is an option too. It should be super easy to do dynamic linking in the construct though. That should just be adding something to the libs variable. And then I think it's like LD path or something to say the path for the files you want to link to. But that's a really simple thing. Like you should be able to find, just like in the scans docs, scans libs LD path. Lib path, not LD path, but lib path. Oh, and here's the docs on that, but I want to just search for here and see what we got. Yeah, so like here's an example. Set the libs variable to m. That's going to add a -l_m in GCC, and then lib path for where to search for those. But this is only, the lib path only affects the searching during the linking process. When the program actually runs, like it doesn't know anything about these paths that you give here. That's then up to the dynamic linker on the system to find, which then comes down to the LD library path variable on Linux and some magic that I don't personally know on Windows. All right, so I just told it to rebuild Godot, and it seems to have been fine. It didn't rebuild anything. SG Physics 2D. I have, let me make sure I have the right version of Godot CPP. This is exactly what I would say to someone who like made a bug report and tried to crash. Like, okay, well, check your versions. Make sure all your versions are good. It's hot reload. The hot reload branch. Let's make sure the right things are being loaded. So SG Physics 2D. I'm looking for the .GDExtension file. .GDExtension. SG Physics 2D GDExtension. This one. So it's loading the normal debug. What one built? Tasks. Nope, those are the wrong tasks. The other tasks. This tasks. Dev build. Okay, it's loading the wrong one in the GDExtension. We just did some user support for myself, and this should fix it, I hope. We built one version of the binary, but loaded a different one, essentially, is what happened there. There we go. Hello, Godot Game Engine. How are you today? All right, so let's just do, smoke tests. Does it work? Is it arrow keys? It's arrow keys. So it looks like it's working. It's just a random test scene. We're good. Now, let's replace the binary and see what happens. Let's find just like a file we can edit so it'll recompile and get a new timestamp. Maybe this file, because it doesn't change anything functionally and nothing else includes it, so we'll just like add a semicolon and then rebuild. It should only take a second to rebuild. There we go. Now when we switch back to here, have we exploded? Or are we still good? We're still good. You know, I was kind of hoping it would crash, because then I could figure out what the crash was and maybe have that automatically solve the other folks' problems. Well, let's just make sure that hot reload's actually doing what we think it is. Let's take a node. So we have SG collision shape 2D, maybe character body. That seems like a fun one to mess with. So SG character body 2D. Let's mess with the properties and see if the reload does something. SG character body 2D. Let's add a new random property. So let's say int get random property and void set random property int p value. Jump over here. SG character body 2D and SG character body 2D. Oh, and we need something to hold this value. So just say int random property return random property and random property equals p-value. And let's go do the thing I always forget to do when I'm doing C++, which is initialize the value. Random property. You'll initialize it to 27, say. Now let's register it with Godot. Add it into our bind methods here. So get random property, same change there. Set random property, same change here. Oh, and not fixed margins value. Not that it really matters. And we'll add the property this way. Set its getters and setters. All right. Supernova files. Welcome to stream. Programming is so fun. Did we exploded? We have not yet exploded today, but don't worry, we will. Probably. I can make no guarantees. Okay, so that did nothing. Is hot reload not actually working? Let's think about this a moment. Maybe we're not crashing because we're not actually hot reloading. Let me look at the compilation flags here. So D hot reload enabled, that's good. F GNU no F no GNU unique, that is also good. Oh, we skipped a step. We skipped a step. Back to doing tech support for ourselves. We have to opt in, like I was saying at the beginning, hot reload is opt in. We have to say reloadable equals true. And this also should be this, but that's not actually going to cause any problems for us, at least in this instance. So let's rebuild. We are going to have to restart the editor because there's a whole bunch of tracking that Godot needs to do to allow hot reload to work, which is part of the reason why it's opt-in, actually. So hot reload is potentially dangerous and might do unexpected things, so it's good that it's opt-in, but also it will use up a ton more memory and performance to do this extra accounting that it needs to do. The Clean says, we are safe. Unity did all the exploding plan for this week. Okay, so let's reload the current project. Now we need to explode. Exploding is actually our desired outcome in this particular instance. Okay, so editor reloaded. So our random property is here. Great. Let's go to the code and let's make that property not exist. Let's go to SG character body and we'll just remove it from, we won't have this add property macro happen at all. Run task. And so we should all be hoping for this to crash, by the way. We're not hoping for success right now. We're hoping for crashing. All right, so it recompiled. And I think we did crash. Did we? Definitely something not good is going on here. Hey, hey! We have some error spam. We have this. It appears to have crashed, although in a weird way, because I'm not... We should have... GDB should have kicked in, but it didn't. All right, so on the issue, this parent is busy thing was discussed, and Dimitri, who I was going back and forth with, did post a patch that he thought fixed it. I don't know if it's the right solution. That will take a little bit of thinking, but the fact that I'm seeing what he was seeing is great. All right, so let's go take a look at the issue. Implement hot reloading of GD extensions. Okay, so where's his patch? We'll just try his patch straight out to begin with. Here it is. Let's copy and paste this. Oop. Hit enter too early. All right, we've applied his patch. And let's recompile Godot. And we need to somehow kill this. I guess X kill. It really bothers me how inconsistently I've been able to get debuggers to work in Godot 4, and I don't know what it is. Has my system changed and my debuggers are now unreliable? Is there something inherent in Godot 4 that makes it like not always want to break on breakpoints and kick in when the program has crashed? Like, I don't know. It's very annoying. Anyway, Godot is already rebuilt. That was very fast. Let's try this again. All right. Oh, I wonder if running the debugger this way is part of the problem. Hang on, let's look at I'm also not running the debugger the way that I usually am when I'm working on Godot because I'm in my SG Physics 2D project. Do we have the Godot code in here? We do not. Hang on, something that might help make VS Code happy is if we add Godot 4 code here. Yes, I do. Okay, we'll see if that helps. All right. So here we have launched it. We need to trigger a hot reload. We'll do the same thing we did before with SG character body 2D and just make this property exist now. And recompile. Over here. It appears to have crashed. Ooh, and we're still in here. Is the debugger giving me anything? No. What the heck? Okay, so I'm getting the feeling that the core of the problem might be editor plugins. Let me try just like disabling all of SGPhysics 2D's editor plugins, and then we can at least sort of narrow it down to that's what's causing the crash. I'm so frustrated that the debugger is not kicking in. We can do our usual thing of switching back and forth between GDB and LLDB. Yes, very nice. We crashed it. Oh, this is the wrong launch JSON. Let's just really quickly try switching from LLDB to GDB. Given that that sometimes leads us to different results, different better results. I don't think I need to change anything down here. Yeah, I think I kept it all up top. Oh, I don't want this core dump though. Or this. Let me just remove both those things. All right, I think this will do it. Let me just kill the program. Try this. It's so much easier to debug issues when I can get the line debugger working and have a stack trace and all of that good stuff. Character body 2D. Let's get rid of our random property again. And we jump over here. We have crashed it. The debugger is running, but it's not giving us anything. We're not breaking, not anything. What happens if I hit pause? Paused. Oh, interesting. Are we stuck in an infinite loop? Step through here. Let's look at the data here. So this code here is kind of a messy hack to do something that's just tricky to do in C++ the way that we have organized Godot CPP. Normally, objects in GDExtension are created in one of two ways. You create an instance of a GDExtension object on the GDExtension side, and then it calls into Godot and creates the underlying node and connects the two. Or you're on the Godot side and you create the object there and pass it to GDExtension, which will wrap it. So those are the two ways. When you're doing a hot reload, you have to somehow create a new GDExtension class for a Godot one that already exists, but it's not a wrapper. Like when we pass things from Godot to GDExtension, it's a native GDExtension class, which is like a new use case that we didn't have in Godot CPP before. And so I have this fun little hack to try and pull that off, but I wonder if we're getting caught in an infinite loop. That is very interesting. Let's walk through this. So the way this is supposed to work is we say we build this little list of instances that we're recreating. And when the constructor runs, it says, is this one of those recreate situations? Let's loop through and find out. And if so, do the recreate thing. If not, do the normal thing, right? Hey, Patty, welcome to the stream. So yeah, something in this loop's going wrong. So while recreate data, so let's first look at the object. So this is the wrapper. It has no owner. Recreate instance. Recreate instance is set. Ugh. So either GDB just lost its mind and didn't really go to the next line, or we exited the loop. Let me try pausing again. We're still in the loop. I'm just going to hit step for a while and see if we just keep going round and round in this loop. We are definitely stuck in this loop. There's no way we're not stuck in this loop. All right. Let's go up the stack a little bit and try to see where this is going wrong. So this is part of the hot reload patch. This is where we're triggering we already have a Godot instance, but we need to recreate the GDExtension side. And we're saying, okay, go do that for us, GDExtension. Then we get shot over into some code inside of this macro, which it won't show us because VS Code isn't that smart. And then we start moving up the hierarchy until we finally hit this one, wrapped. And it is somehow looping forever in here. And that could really only happen, I think, if we had garbage data stored here. So let's take a look at how this is initialized. So it's an inline static, initialized to null pointer. I'm not entirely clear why I made this be inline static rather than just a normal inline, but we'll assume I had reasons. So it's initialized to null pointer. And then if we go look at the macro code that's setting this, that is in my window's too small. Let me just make this bigger. Create, recreate. Then we jump to GD class recreate, which is here. So, okay, we allocate a new instance. We allocate the memory for a new instance. We stash the information we need in this list. That's what these two lines do. Then we do new placement to run the constructors. It still feels like this could only go wrong if the list wasn't terminated correctly. Recreate data. With the new instance, we put the object. Next should always be set to null at the end of the list. And why didn't that take me back where I was? Yeah, I'm like totally lost. Why didn't it take me to the code I was just on a second ago? VS Code. Okay, here we go. So recreate instance starts out as null pointer. We build this up, so now the next one is null pointer, and this is here. Then after the constructor actually runs in here, why do we need previous? Okay, so if it's not null, we check if this wrapper matches. If so, we do this, and then previous Okay, so previous was the one before this in like this weird linked list. I might need to draw a picture. Previous next equals this one next. What if this is the only item though? Okay, then previous would be null and we wouldn't end up here. But if we did have a previous, then I think we need to set a breakpoint here and see how this looks the first time it runs and see if the data somehow gets corrupted for the second time that it runs. This is so weird that I did not encounter this case in my testing at all. Like, what's different that's making it do this? Hey, Nyanel! Dzień dobry! And also the buddy Adrian, welcome to the stream! Oh, Ricardo says, thanks for the hint about dynamic loading a GDExtension. It's working! I can't believe it was that easy! I'm glad that it works. Not so dobre for Unity. We talked about that a little bit at the beginning. Yeah, this has been a crazy week. I feel like I have spent every day at least 2 hours reading things about what's going on with Unity and the Unity community responding and different news coverage. And oh man, it's craziness. Total craziness. Okay, so then previous equals the current, recreate there. Yeah, let's just do this in a breakpoint. Which of course, because the debugger hates us. Well, actually, hang on. We switched from GDB to LLVM. LLVM is usually the more reliable one, but maybe I was thinking it wasn't working when in fact it was working. It was just an infinite loop situation instead of a crash situation. So let's try switching back to LLDB. And let's kill this. And let's run Godot. Then, hopefully, if LLDB does not hate us, when we do the hot reload, we should break in that spot and we can kind of try and see what might be going wrong. All right, so first we need to make a code change so that we have some changes to reload. Let's build you. A lot of comments going on. I'm going to take a peek as soon as I get this to its breakpoint, because otherwise I will forget what I was doing. And that is bad. All right, so it definitely stopped. Why are we not hitting this breakpoint? Haha. Okay, interesting. Exception has occurred. I have a feeling this just looped enough times until it hit it, until it got this sig trap. So it's definitely something going on in this little loop here. All right, comments time. But hey, David, rejoice. I'm sure this will help Godot grow and improve. I do feel sorry for the decent Unity games and projects and, of course, people. Yeah, I think one thing we can say for sure, and I said this earlier, is that I think this proves the point that Godot and all other open source game engines have been saying, is that making the industry dependent on like one or two companies who could change their licensing terms at any time is bad. And I think this will probably bring some more attention to open source projects like Godot, and it's super cool that like everyone seems to default to talking about Godot, like in the media and among developers and stuff. So that's cool. Whether or not it will help Godot grow and improve remains to be seen. I do worry that a lot of Unity developers will be like, screw this, I'm going to Godot, and then they're sort of just rage choosing Godot, and then they get over to our community and say, wait, what I wanted was Unity but free, but Godot's not that. It's something different. Because it is different. It has a different way of approaching problems and doing things. And of course, Godot 4 is not in the most mature state at the moment, and I'm worried that an influx of rage joiners to the Godot community is just going to have people bounce off of Godot, not have a good experience, and won't necessarily lead to long-term investments where people become contributors and Godot, just purely benefits. But we'll see. KSP2, man, KSP2. I don't entirely understand the reference. So Kerbal Space Program 2, I guess it had a shaky launch. I don't know the full news that you might be referring to though. Yvonne 37, welcome to the stream. And Orlac, hey Orlac, we were going to at some point dig into your GDExtension project to try and see if we could figure out why Hot Reload isn't working for you, but we haven't quite gotten there yet. Hot Reload's not working for my project either, so we have to figure that out. Which actually, I'm glad it's having something going on here because it'll be much easier for me to fix my project than someone else's project. Anyway, breaking news: Unity boycott begins as devs switch off ads to force a runtime fee reversal. Damn. Or like, I'm the one helping test your branches last week, and debuggers originally giving me trouble too. I set a few additional settings that ended up helping. Ah. Well, look, there's Unreal for the demanding projects. There are some other engines as well. Godot is currently pretty much the best prototyping software ever, definitely for games at least, but I would even argue that it's pretty good for applications. Yeah. Oh, you actually had it working on Linux? Or like, I must have missed that. Sorry for not diving right into what was going on with your project when you reported. It's just a crazy busy week, and I kept trying to find time to like really sit down and dive into it, and I didn't. Which is what I sometimes use streams for. It's like this 2-hour focus time when I have to sit down and work on something that isn't work. But yeah, I will get there. I'm definitely interested to hear that it worked on Linux though. That's huge. If there are some Windows only problems, like yeah, we can dig into that next. But right now, I'm personally having problems on Linux with my GDExtension, which is good. I can fix it here, and then hopefully some of these fixes will carry over. Godot still needs improvement for mobile. I've published a free-to-play with iApps for iOS and Android, so I'm talking from experience, but we'll get there sometime, believe it. Yeah, for sure. Godot will get there. I've actually been amazed at how fast the community has been able to improve Godot 4. Like, we've had two, or I guess one release and about to be 2 releases on this 4-month release cycle, and holy crap, like the amount of stuff that's being accomplished in these 4-month chunks is crazy. I think there will be a small PR issue when Godot 4.2 comes out and people saying like, but look at Godot 3.2 was so much better than 3.0, but Godot 4.2 is only this much better or whatever, but that's a false comparison. Godot 3 minor releases came out about a year apart. So Godot 3.2 was 2 years after the release of Godot 3.0, whereas Godot 4.2 is going to be 8 months after the release of 4.0, and it's going to contain some amazing stuff. Unfortunately, like with the new release cycle, it's probably going to be like Godot 4.7 or 4.6 when Godot 4 reaches the same place that Godot 3.2 was, which I feel was like the first truly mature Godot 3 release was 3.2. And of course, it got even better than that. Like 3.4 was amazing. 3.6, which I don't think is out yet, is going to be even more amazing. But yeah, so much is happening in Godot so fast. It's just that like if everyone's going to turn up today, like there's some things like, when a company comes over to your house and you're like, oh man, like I've been meaning to fix this thing, but like I can't in a day, so like I'm just going to cover it up and hide it. Like I kind of have that feeling with suddenly getting so much attention on Godot. At some point will be the Blender of game dev. I agree with that. I think at some point Godot probably will become in a similar place as Blender. Yeah, it took Blender 10 years to get where it is right now. Godot needs years too. Let's just have some patience. It's going to be worth it. I agree with that. I agree with that completely. Blender didn't mean there stopped being other 3D editing tools. I don't think there will ever stop being other open source game engines, but like finding sort of this place as like the go-to open source major player, I feel like Godot is well on its way to get there. Yeah. Anyway, let's fix some stuff here. So something is happening that causes us to get stuck in an infinite loop here, and I really would love to set a breakpoint. Well, does it not let me set breakpoints here? This is just bananas that I can't set breakpoints. Let's try this again. Let's just rerun this. Like, it clearly knows how to break here because it broke on that spot. Or wait, is it like opening the same file but through a different path? Wait. Oh, this is dumb. How does this even make sense? Okay, so I don't know if you guys can really see this, but like I have a breakpoint on this line, and then I have a breakpoint on the same line in the same file. It's a symlink. This code symlinks to the code over here. I thought VS Code was smart enough to figure that out. Oh, that's annoying. Wow. Okay, well, if it lets me break at that spot, I will take it. I will happily take it. All right, so we reran this. Let's redo our thing. We're going to introduce a new change, recompile, and trigger the hot reload. Hey, and we hit a breakpoint! Woohoo! Okay, so wrapped recreate instance should be... Well, actually, right before this, it should have been set. So it shouldn't be null, but the next pointer should be null. All right, next pointer is null. Perfect. Now let's see where this goes wrong. So previous equals null pointer, okay. While recreate data, we check if wrapper equals this, which it might. It very well might. Wait, why is wrapper null? Why is wrapper null? Let's go up the stack here. Okay, we need to look in this macro. Macro time. Recreate. Okay, so we malloc this new instance. New instance is wrapper, right? That's this new instance that we malloc here. It's assigned to wrapper. I mean, it can be null because we ran out of memory, but that's sort of surprising. Oh, but here it's not null when it abbreviates it. What am I? Oh, owner on wrapper is null. I'm just misreading this. Okay, so wrapper itself is not null, but underscore owner is null. Okay, that's so far so good. All right, where are we in the debugger? Take me to the top of the stack. Or the bottom of the stack. I guess it depends on how you visualize the stack. Does the stack descend? Which I guess it technically does, like in memory. The CPU actually does stack frames downward. So the bottom of the stack, we'll say. Okay, so if wrapper equals this, what is this? I wish VS Code would give me the address of the things that we're looking at rather than just like the addresses inside. That's kind of frustrating. But okay, let's just step to the next thing. Okay, so wrapper is this. So then we take the owner. if previous, but previous should be null in this case. Return. No, we shouldn't return here, because that's going to leave the data in place. What we need to do is we have to do this thing, and recreate instance. I'm seeing a lot of comments going on. I'm going to look at these comments, and then I'm going to dig back into this. Yvonne says, I am so tired of the Unity drama. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I've personally hit tired of it yet, because I feel like there's still just so much up in the air. But yeah, it will. By next week, I think I'll be done with it too. Unity refugees, have you folks heard about that? It's insane. Godot Discord is getting 500 to 1,000 new users daily. Yeah, I worry about all of that happening at once, honestly, which I already explained. Same with Reddit. Full path versus file name option for breakpoint settings and one of the debugger extension settings. Interesting. Yeah, that'd be great if you could dig that up, Orlac. Still welcome any Unity or not new users in the community. They're valuable and contribute to the project. David is correct. There will be some disappointment that Godot isn't the direct alternative to Unity. I'm sure most of them will still be aware of migrating, not even not. Godot doesn't even have 50 devs contracted full-time. Unity had 10,000. Yeah. Well, I would rather that people came to Godot after researching Godot, understanding, being in the right frame of mind, right? Being in the frame of mind of, I'm going to try something exciting and new, and not like just pissed, and like being in the frame of mind of running away from something they're upset about. Because I think that might lead to bad experiences with Godot that maybe wouldn't have happened if you had come in with a different mindset. I don't know. The clean, yeah, Unity developers are used to many tools that are not present in Godot. I hope it will blow fresh air into the plugins and extensions. Yes, this would be the best outcome. The best outcome is lots of Unity developers come over, say, hey, this is 80% of what I need. I will help along with the community and other people who use these tools in Unity to fill in that other 20%. That would be amazing. That would be the best possible outcome. If you're using CPP debug in your launch settings, this should help your breakpoint issue across files with the same name. So I am not using CPP debug right now because just for whatever reason, GDB with Godot 4 has been so unreliable, and I don't know why. Like, I upgraded OSs and changed computers and did all these things in the process too, so it might not actually be Godot 4 related. But over the past, I will say, year and a half, GDB has been super unreliable, so I've been using LLDB. But yeah. It's just that tax laws are tricky, and it's going to be run by the Godot Foundation, so there's lots of issues to solve before the launch. Oh, the asset store. Yeah. Oh my God, the asset store is such a nightmare. So, when was it? I forget when, but so I had known that things with the asset store were hard, and that people were working on it like intensely for the last, I don't know, really long time, like a year and a half or something. And I would hear like about the little bits of progress or whatever, but then I got some new inside information which I cannot share. But the situation was much, much, much worse and much, much, much harder than I was previously made aware. Man, so yeah, the tons of people have been working their butts off trying to make the asset store happen. And yeah, hopefully it's coming soon. But yeah, all I can say is that, yeah. Interesting. I had better luck with GDB versus LLDB. Yeah, I don't know. I don't even know what the issue is. But anyway, let's focus in here. I'm definitely doing something wrong because we are setting the owner, which is great, but we are not doing the surgery on this linked list data structure that we need to do here. So we found the owner. We need to do this. we need to say recreate data, but no, we need to do it. Where do we need to do it? Okay, okay. I might need to draw a picture. Let's draw a picture. There we go. Okay, so we've got our linked list, which actually I know probably someone's going to say like linked lists are terrible. This linked list should be fine for the reasons that linked lists are usually terrible, which is that when you have a linked list, you're usually allocating each of these on the heap. These are all on the stack and exist very, very temporarily. They actually should, the whole linked list should go away at the end of this process, and each of the items on the linked list are on the stack. It's like part of a chain of function calls. Anyway, it's a weird way to do this, but I think it's fine. I think it's not terrible, I guess I'll say. Okay, so we're going through this list. Let's say we find the item here. That means previous points to this one. And what we need to do is say previous is next, now points here. So this one's out of the list. And I think we have the code for that. I think that's if previous exists, then we set next equal to our current next. Great. But if previous doesn't exist, in that case, we just have this and a link to null. And of course, the first link from T wrapper. Then previous points to null. So our P pointer is to null. We'll just put an X for that. And here we are. What we need to do is actually set this to this value, which actually this list could go on further, right? It would just if we landed on the first element. So then we need to go psh, psh, like that. I think that's the code we're missing. Let's add an else here. And we will say our wrapper, why did I say T? My brain's all confused. Wrapper recreate instance equals recreate data next. And then this code is only here if we don't find it. And in that case, we don't want to make any changes at all, right? Does that make sense? Let's remove those breakpoints. Let's restart Godot, recompile. Hang on. There was some issue there. Or not wrapper, sorry, wrapped. And we don't need to recompile Godot. This is all in Godot CPP. What we need to recompile is SGPhysics2D. All right. David, asset store is a big deal both to run it and as a value for the Godot, especially since it was just confirmed yesterday on the business channel by Emmy that the transaction fees partially will go to fund Godot's development directly. It's as if you made a donation directly, which is great. There's an even better deal. That's an even better deal than the Blender market because the Blender market is done and maintained by CG Cookie. In other words, it's crucial. I dig that, T. Great for the autographs. Okay, did that actually compile? Man, I need to look at messages before I dismiss them. I'm going to assume it did. Okay, great. Now we need to run this. I wonder if this worked for me in the past because I only ever tested reloading a single class. But I'm baffled if this, really is the issue, like why this didn't hit me previously. Because like we've tested this hot reload over and over and over again on stream even. Oh, crash. All right. Well, that's fine. Let's crash. Crashing is good. Crashing's okay. So we are crashing on this object cast 2. That's so strange. Let's go all the way to the top of the stack. Did we finish the reload? It seems like it. It seems like the reload finished, and then we are on another frame where a signal's being emitted. Can we know what signal it is? Looks like the timeout signal. So that's probably a timer. So we start working our way down here. Scene tree, update tree. Working our way down here. All right, we're asking for configuration warnings. We're trying to get them from shape 2D. Or I'm sorry, SG collision object 2D is the one that's getting the warnings from, and it's looping through its children to say, hey, can I cast you to an SG collision shape 2D? Because I guess the warning will be, do we have a collision shape or not? And then we get here, and invalid address fault. So that sounds like the address is not in the virtual address space for the process, possibly. So anyway, we started with this object. Which we don't have much information about, honestly. Then we get the name of the class. We run GDExtension interface object cast 2. Do we get back the same pointer? Casted. So object went in, casted came out, but could you just give me the address, VS Code? What's the address of P object? That's all I want to know. I think it's the same, because if this owner here is the same as casted here, and then we're trying to dynamic cast, so it looks like even the get object instance binding worked. Looks like even this worked. GDExtension interface object get instance binding. I wonder if we're grabbing an old instance binding, which shouldn't happen, but I wonder if we are. Do we have terminal messages? We do. Not object internal is true. Error calling from signal, node removed to callable, editor plugin, node removed, method not found. Interesting. Extension does not equal pointer extension. Well, something I said we should try earlier, which I think we should still try, just to sort of like cut out some big chunks, figure out like we'll kind of like binary search our way to the source of the problem. I think we should try removing all of SG Physics 2D's editor plugins and just see what problems we still encounter and what maybe go away. I think the fix we did in here is probably correct, so that's good. we made some progress there, but it's confusing to me. Like, we have all these messages which are clearly from editor plugins, and I don't know if that relates to this seg fault that we're getting for the the configuration messages. So let's just eliminate some things. Let's go to init GDExtension. We are going to just comment out everything related to editor plugins. Oop. And we'll leave the singletons in, but that's also something that, well, it'd be hard to remove because like SGPhysics 2D uses its singletons quite a bit, but yeah, if we could shrink it down to just classes that don't touch them, that could also be an interesting thing to just chop off and see what problems we still get. But let's try. Yeah, let's just try this. Let's just try again. I'm really glad that I did this and feel really silly that I didn't do this earlier, that I didn't try hot reload with SGPhysics 2D. And again, like I said at the beginning, it was because I just don't want to have hot reload for SGPhysics 2D. It's not gameplay code. I don't think it would be any advantage to me as the developer of SGPhysics 2D to have hot reload, so I just didn't try it. But yeah, I think trying it is probably an amazing decision. If I can get it all working, hopefully more by the end of the stream, but if not, like over the weekend, that will hopefully help improve everyone else's issues with it, all the other people who are testing. So let's go to our SG character body. Rebuild with a tiny change. But yeah, guys, the upcoming month's gonna be really interesting, huh? Yeah, interesting times. And I mean, even without this, we still had Godot 4.2 coming out in, a little over a month. We have GodotCon in November, which I'm going to, by the way. I don't remember if I mentioned this. No, I wouldn't have been able to because I didn't do a stream last week. So I was waiting to find out if W4 would sponsor me to go to GodotCon, because that's the only way that I was going to be able to go to GodotCon is if they sponsored me. And they finally told me last week, Tuesday, that it was a go. So I'm going to GodotCon, which I'm really excited. If anyone else is going to GodotCon, let me know. Like, we should definitely meet for coffee or something. Like, I mean, I don't think GodotCon's huge, so if we're both there, we'll probably see each other. But make a conscious effort to sit down and chat a bit. All right. So we have segfaulted, and we have way less messages. But let's see if it's still the same segfault. Ooh, it's different. It's a different segfault with no stack trace. It's a different segfault with no stack trace. Tricky, tricky, tricky. We could try and see what these messages are about. If we get down to a point where there's no messages, we've at least eliminated those messages as possible sources of the problem. GodotCon is in Munich. It is in Munich at what is the date? I like just bought my tickets and everything. I can't remember the date. GodotCon. 4th and 5th of November. So can you give me a calendar, but not my personal calendar? I would like to just see a calendar. Just show me a calendar. Hey, here we go. So the 4th and 5th, so Saturday and Sunday is actual GodotCon, and then on the 3rd, there's going to be some kind of community get-together. I don't know the details. But just some kind of hangout. I'm actually going to be arriving on that Thursday to hopefully manage my jet lag somewhat. And then, yeah, it's going to be awesome. And yeah, I know, Patrick, you're going to be there. So, like, yes, Patrick, we should definitely meet up for coffee, for sure. Anyone else coming? Yeah, last Godot cons were in Poznań. I was really trying to encourage it to be in Poznań again. I was talking to Remy and saying like, "Hey, we should just do it in Poznań." But there's a community in Munich who offered to organize it, and there was a period of time when it was sort of up in the air, like would they be able to find a venue and get everything sorted out? And so that's when I was talking to Remy that maybe we should do Poznań again, but maybe next year. I mean, I don't know who's going to organize GodotCon next year, and maybe it'll make sense to combine it with I forget what the conference is that Godot kind of slipped its conference inside of in Poznań. Ooh, Remy, I just want to share some progress on my GDExtension project. This video showcases my custom animation player that considers bone velocities when transitioning. Last step should finalize. Don't say I need reloading, but I am going to attempt to make your video appear on the stream window. There we go. Let's go back to the beginning. All right, you got a dude. He's got a sword. He's walking, slicing. Ooh, some bigger slices. That's looking pretty cool. Whoa, some serious kung fu there. Looks awesome, Remy. There's too many people named Remy. So Remy, who is talking about this, is not the same Remy who I was talking about a second ago as far as Godot organization. Oop, and probably I should get this off the screen. All right. Man, if you ever happen to be Poznań again, DM. Yeah, I would. I really need to go back to Poland. I haven't been to Poland in 13 years. I would love to visit. And you know what's crazy too is I used to go like on a trip in the summer, like once a year, to visit Poland, and I haven't done that in 13 years. I even considered, like, because Munich's like not that far away, that maybe I could just take like a little detour, but I don't know. Anyway, let's try and figure out what this error message is here, and just keep eliminating things as we get closer and closer, I hope, to the source of the problem. So this takes us into SG Physics 2D server CPP. Something just occurred to me, actually. Let's stop looking into this for one moment. And our singletons, we delete them. Do we ever set them to null, like, or is that memory still pointed to somewhere? So SG Physics 2D server, where is your destructor? Okay, in the destructor we do clear the singleton. Okay, well, back to looking at this error. So what's happening here is we are removing a shape from a collision object, and we are trying to get the object from the RID, and it doesn't actually exist. It would be really great to have a stack trace here. Is there a way to encode to make the debugger break? Like break at a point that, well, I mean, I could also just do like, we could say if not object internal 1+1, right? But is there like actually a command I could run? Like something I could put on a line that makes the debugger break? Is that a thing? Let's ask ChatGPT. In GCC, is there, or in, here I'll say in G++, is there a command or something that will make the program break like a breakpoint? Oh my god. Pick up the pace here, ChatGPT. Really taking the long way around. No, I don't want to set a breakpoint. Okay, fine. We'll just do it this way. I was just wondering if like I could do something like breakpoint, you know, and have it just break there. So I have literally never had conditional breakpoints work. Never. GDB, man, or I guess this is LLDB, but GDB I've had the most experience with because I've been using GDB since, the 90s. I have just literally never had conditional breakpoints work. Yeah, you can DM me 9L. I might not necessarily have time to help out with the thing, but like you can always ask, all right. So let's try this. It should break for us. Yeah, they're very theoretically great. That would be interesting to try the ASM Yvonne. I don't have very a ton of x86 assembly experience. I'm assuming interrupt 3 has some special meaning in Linux. Most of my assembly experience is with the 6502 and Z80 processors. Not very useful in the modern era. So we are messing with character body to trigger our hot reload here. Well, yeah, but I mean, so the operating system has to treat that interrupt in some special way, right? Like I'm assuming that particular interrupt has some special special meaning. Okay, so where are we at? We are in prepare reload. So this is where we should be freeing the underlying data in the GDExtension. We are now freeing we're now freeing the SG collision shape 2D, which leads to collision object remove shape. And we get in here, and I guess at this point, the object doesn't exist. So what I'm assuming happened is that we are looping over which objects to clean up, and we must have just gotten to the objects first. We must have gotten to the objects first and removed it. What happens? How are objects freed? So here we create them, we get the type, we set the data pointer, we set the transform, we add shapes, remove shapes. How do we actually free? Let's go look at SG collision object 2D. This stores some RIDs internally. in its destructor, what do? Its destructor, we just say free RID. Okay, so that gets rid of the RID completely, which, yeah, okay. So I think this is actually harmless. So long as the shape still removes its own RID. Yeah, okay. If RID is valid, then free RID. Okay, I think this is harmless. I think what's happening is just the object got its data cleared first, then the collision shape. If the collision shapes had happened first, and then the objects, we wouldn't get this thing printed out, but we're still good. We're still good. So that message is not any kind of clue for us. Let me remove this code that we added in our breakpoint. So that doesn't get us any closer. Unfortunately, the last crash we had, it crashed without a stack trace, right? I think what may be happening is there might be some piece of data somewhere from before the reload that should have gotten cleared but hasn't been cleared. Oh, or like I'm curious about your debug break. Sorry, I didn't see that right away. So is that a G++ thing? A GCC thing? Ooh, int3. Also, Ivanovan's thing. Unlike int3, this function is cross-platform. Yeah, because it has to be the operating system looking for that interrupt. So it sounds like int3 might be a Windows thing. Because I don't know, Windows and Linux obviously treat each of the interrupts differently. Or probably do. I mean, they don't have to. Maybe they coincidentally picked the same interrupt for the same thing. I don't know. Yeah. So this is really what I was looking for. But yeah, we'll try it if we got to do another one of those. If we have to do another one of those things, or like we'll give that debug break a try. Okay, so we reran it. It's currently operating. Awesome. Let's what do we need to do? We need to trigger a hot reload. So that is character body. Where's SG character body? Yeah, if this is gonna die without a stack trace, then I think we have no choice but to just remove stuff until it works. I wonder, another big chunk we could try removing is the hot reload functionality does this thing where it like backs up all of the properties of the objects before it unloads them and then resets those properties when it reloads them. I wonder if there's some properties that accidentally contain some resources from before the reload that aren't safe to abort function. Yeah, I'll also give that a try. This is not something I've ever tried to do before. I don't know why. Like, I feel like finding a function like debug break or abort or even the int3 is you'd think that's something I would have tried before, but it never occurred to me until just now. Okay, so let's do that. We'll kill this. Let's go into Godot. This is Godot CPP. Actually, let's just close this because we're going to be using it through SG Physics 2D for now anyway. And let's go into, I think this is all in GDExtension CPP. And nope, wrong thing. The opposite of that. There we go. Make a nice big window for me. Somewhere in here, we are saving and restoring these properties. Here we go. This looks like it. So we're getting the property list. We're looping over the property list. We're saving some stuff. And yeah, so let's just comment out the code that does the action and leave the code for the data itself, just because that's simpler to do, less likely to cause more issues for us to correct, just to get this to compile. So let's build it. Interesting, a few months ago I had considered switching to Unity because of the job market, but now maybe it wasn't a foolish idea to pick Godot those years ago. It's pretty interesting that you're running into the opposite problem I was having on Windows. It wouldn't break the debugger for me, but on Linux, it would almost always break for me, even on teardown crashes. Interesting. I'm going to really quickly run to the bathroom, guys. I will be right back. Sorry for the short break. All right, I'm back. Looks like the compile finished in the meantime, so we should be able to run this and see what happens. Yeah, if we can narrow it down to this being a problem, if the saving and restoring data is the problem, then what I'm thinking is we can print out each piece of data as it restores it, and then we should be able to see what was the last thing it printed before it crashed. We'll have to make sure to run whatever thing we got to run to flush the I/O to make sure that we're looking at the right printed out thing. But I think that might be a way to figure this out. I suppose we could also do the same thing in the debugger, if we can rely on the debugger. You know, set a breakpoint, and then step through till we get the one that breaks it. But that seems more tedious, even if it works, even if we can trust the debugger. We still sig fault. Interesting. What if we comment out the entire reloading part of the process and just do the unloading? I don't know if that is a smart idea or not. But I guess I'm not even completely sure that we're successfully unloading before we reload. I guess we could at least print something. Let's go to GDExtension manager, CPP. Or, yeah, this is another good use of breakpoints, actually. So let's do reload extension. So we'll say prepare, unload, reload, load extension internal, finish reload. That should at least give us an idea of which part of the process we're actually crashing on. Or if it completes this whole process successfully and then crashes later, which actually I think might be what's happening. Because the last time we had a stack trace, although that was for a different crash, it definitely seemed to be getting to the end and then just running the next frame when it was crashing. But let's try it. Let's try it. And I put all these breakpoints in the wrong VS Code. Too many VS Code instances. All right, let's go to the right VS Code. And let's go to GDExtension manager and load it up with these breakpoints. So prepare, unload, close library, load, load internal, finish. Okay. Reload you, rerun you. You may want to try the same launch settings that I ended up landing on for Linux just to see what happens to help. The top configuration is what worked for me really well. Let's take a look at it. Oop, and of course it opened it over here instead of in the window I want it to open on. Yeah, this looks quite similar to what I was using. I definitely didn't use this NatViz or this or this or this. I use external console true because I personally have had better experience with VS Code's integration stuff when I do that. True exception list. I don't use that either. This looks like something that's in mine as well, though. Well, then here's the editor one. We have to do everything in the editor, but it's basically the same. Yeah, it's definitely worth trying. I'm just like constantly fighting with the debugger lately. It's very frustrating. Let me do this thing that I was attempting to do first, though. So let's do SG character 2D. Compile the engine, pretty much all possible optimizations disabled. Is that arc editor? Use static CPP, yes. Dev build, yes. Debug symbols, yes. So I think dev build, yes implies debug symbols, yes, and a particular optimized settings. I am using LTO, though. I wonder if I should disable LTO. I'm not doing the use static CPP, which also might be interesting, particularly because the crashes seem to be in libc, so that would statically include libc rather than have it being dynamically included. So W4, as far as I understand, will provide console support and some other services that Godot, due to licensing, cannot provide. Anything about mobile? Is there anything about mobile? There's nothing about mobile that I personally recall. That doesn't mean it's not happening. I'm only involved in my little corner of W4. But yeah, so the consoles is because of licensing. It wouldn't be possible for the Godot Foundation or the Godot project to provide console support because you have to have like an official business relationship with the consoles, and you have to be able to have like these shared NDAs between W4 in this case and the developer and Sony, for example, if you're doing PlayStation. So anyway, yeah, so for consoles it's the licensing. For some of the other stuff it's different reasons. So like the cloud product that I'm working on, there isn't anything with licensing that affects the cloud product. In fact, it is not impossible that the entire back end of the cloud product will be open sourced. We will see. That is a thing in discussion. So that's more about like it not making sense for the Godot Foundation or the Godot project to run like multiplayer services. it just isn't a thing that the Godot project should do. But possibly all of that work will be open source, and so other people could potentially run their own instance of the W4 cloud services. That's more about developers take advantage of like the Epic cloud services and the Unity cloud services, and there isn't a thing like that for Godot, and so wouldn't it be great if there was? What are some of the other products? Analytics, I mean, it's the same kind of thing as the cloud services. I mean, I guess that's part of the cloud services. The CI build system stuff, also the same kind of deal. Yeah, I'm blanking on what the rest of W4's products are right now, but different things. Different things for different reasons, but just stuff where it's inappropriate for the Godot project or the Godot Foundation to do, but the developer community of Godot could really use, basically. And so W4 will step in to try and provide those things. All right. So we are hot reloading right now, and I'm going to hit continue to go to my next breakpoint. We're on just before prepare reload. Nothing went wrong at prepare reload. Unload extension internal, which should do all of the mechanics of unloading, like running all of the uninitialization stuff that the developer who made the GDExtension put into their GDExtension. And that is where the seg fault is. Interesting. Interesting. Okay. Wow. So, wow, okay. Let's go into our extension and let's see if we can try to pinpoint which part of the uninitialization process is actually hitting this. So we don't actually have that much in, oh, and I meant to remove this, but I didn't. We don't actually have that much in SG Physics 2D itself that does unloading, but it's just, these handful of lines. But there's a bunch of stuff that Godot CPP does for us, which we can find that in, I think, Godot CPP, not the one in Godot Engine, but the one in Godot CPP. Yeah, in here. So this should run a couple of times for each deinitialization level, and it will do different things at different points. So let's start this over. How are we on time? Oh my gosh. We only have 16 minutes left. The time flies. Time flies when you're having fun streaming Godot Dev. SG character body 2D. Rebuild. Go over here, hit our breakpoints. All right, so our first deinitialization level, the first one is editor. So let's start stepping. Terminate callback. So this would be taking us into the specific code from SG Physics 2D, or not. What? Shouldn't it have? Oh, because this happens on the scene level and we're on the editor level. All right, cool. So now editor plugins, I'm actually going to step into, it should have stepped me into, but it didn't. Class DB, I'm going to try and step into. Whatever, okay. So that brought us no new information. We are now on initialization level scene. So let's step over, step into for real this time. Thank you. So now we are unregistering these singletons. So we unregister the SG fixed singleton, and now we delete it. We unregister SG physics 2D, and we seg fault? Or no, we sig trap. That's a little bit different, but and we haven't totally died. What happens if I just keep hitting next? Anything? No. What happens if I hit continue? We're just stuck here. This feels like a different crash. Are you guys getting that vibe that this is a different crash than the last one? You know, I made one other change when we started doing this, which was commenting out this code that I should have commented out earlier when I commented out this. Let's just put it back and see if we get the same crash from previously, because it seems likely that there's multiple things going wrong here. SG character body 2D. All right, hit our breakpoints. Keep moving here. We're doing editor. Let's yeah, step over, step into. We really actually stepped into. That's great. We're now going to do the editor plugin thing. Step over. And this is the seg fault. Okay. So it looks like the seg fault we were getting before is from this one, and there's a new sig trap that comes from this one. So let's dig into what remove by type does. It calls into remove plugin class, which takes us to here. Right, so I don't expect these lines to cause issues. I mean, we can check in the debugger later, but I think the real damage is probably being caused by this one, which takes us into Godot GDExtension interface CPP. This is so weird how it's like open at two different directories, but let's pick this one. It's the same file. VS Code just has a split brain about where it is. So then this would be editor remove plugin. So we end up going GDExtension editor plugins, remove extension class, say if editor node remove plugin, then we call this function pointer, otherwise erase. What possibly could be going wrong here? Okay, well let's try and get to the Godot side and see if the problem's happening on the Godot side. So we'll set a breakpoint here, which it's refusing to do. All right, let's open up the exact same file at a different path. Yeah, same file, different path. Let's go remove plugin. And now it lets me set a breakpoint. There's got to be a VS Code setting I can do somewhere. It's the same file. It should know it's the same file. It's just symlinks. It's trivial to be able to check if one file at one path is equivalent to another file at another path under Linux. All right. So let's rerun this. SG character. SG character body 2D. Bring back our random property. Ivanovan has to go. Thanks for coming to the stream. Take care. All right, so here we go. Let's see if we cross the boundary into Godot. We do not? Question mark? What? All right, let's try this again. Next time we get here, I'm going to try step into, or maybe I should even put a breakpoint here and in here. There we go. Wasn't recognizing Control P for some reason. Let's run this. What debugger launch extension do you use? I can poke around while you dig into this. So with LLVM, I use a different one. Or LLDB, I should say. Is that in here? Code LLDB is the one that I use for LLDB. And I don't know if I use one for GDB or if it's just like part of the C++ extension. I'm not sure, honestly. Yeah, the GDB stuff might just be part of the C++ extension. Anyway, did I recompile the thing? Did the thing happen? I don't think that it did. Or at least none of my breakpoints are triggering right now. Okay, let's try move this, build this. Oh, I guess I introduced a syntax error somewhere somehow. That is in editor plugin CPP, and that is in Godot CPP. I think it's got to be this one. Yep, that's the one. All right, jump over here. It should snap me back. It did not. Is this still working? It is. All right, well, let's try character body 2D. Maybe in the mess that I was just making there, I didn't get it to actually recompile. Oh yeah, it says it's up to date. I really could probably just do something with touch to update the file timestamp. It would probably trigger the same issue, but I've gotten used to testing it this way because I'm used to testing it when it works, not when it crashes repeatedly. All right, so continue. What? Was this just the debugger being weird, or did it actually crash at a different point this time? Let's try again. Okay, continue. All right, so now it's doing what it did before. Here, let's step into. All right, so plugin classes, find class name. We get an index of -1, so editor plugin is not registered, correct? We're segfaulting on the error message? We're segfaulting on the error message? Index is -1. Do this. This shouldn't stop working at this point, I don't think. Or maybe, actually, if we've cleaned up ClassDB yet, but I don't think we have. What if we just say if index equals -1, return? Whoa, what? What, Patrick? Godot funding is now at 32K per month. Wasn't it lower than that at some point? I mean, much lower than that? Wasn't it like 20 something? Hang on. Godot Developer Fund. Actually, I'll find it from the Godot engine website. Okay, yeah, so it was at 25,000 euro, 3 days ago. And today it's 32,000. That is fabulous. 438 members to basically double, more than double. Sponsors hasn't changed, but that makes sense. Sponsors are like big deals that the foundation does individually, as opposed to members. People can just like sign up on the website. Whoa, that is cool. I did not even notice that there was an impact on the development fund. But that's really cool. Like the absolute numbers, that isn't a huge increase. Like I don't think that'll get another developer, an extra, what is that, 7,000 euro. But that is really cool. So Orlac, try adding LLDB adapter type bundled. So I am not using the. They actually like bundle an LLDB in this extension. I'm not using it because it is incompatible with the stuff that comes with my distro. So I forget what I have in. If it's in here or if it's in like the actual LLDB settings. Or wrong settings. These settings. Open settings. I just want the JSON, man. Where's the JSON? Well, the point is, I had to actually point it to. Here we go. I had to point it to the LDB stuff on my system, because otherwise the one that they bundled would attempt to launch like one version of the debug server and a different version of the command line tool, and it clashed and everything exploded. So yeah. Faint figure, welcome to the stream. Oh, but you're like spam. You're totally spam. Catch you later, spam person. How do I block you? All right, I think I've blocked you. Samuel, hi David, do you have any updates on Godot 4 and client-side prediction and rollback? So, like, I really just need to find 2 weeks to focus on that. It would probably take me about 2 weeks to port the rollback netcode add-on from Godot 3 to Godot 4. I just have been so focused on GDExtension stuff, honestly. The Godot 4.2 feature freeze is coming up in 2-3 weeks. So like, I just really, really want to get as much done on GDExtension before, you know, the cutoff comes for 4.2. So I haven't had a chance to work on anything. I think, here's what I'm thinking. I proposed a presentation about rollback, about the rollback netcode add-on for GodotCon. If they accept it, well, I'm going to drop everything and port that to Godot 4. If not, I think after Godot 4.2 releases, I'm going to try to take a little break from GDExtension stuff, or like maybe just cut down the amount of time that I'm putting into it by some amount, so that I can refocus myself on the rollback netcode project and also XR. Like I want to be making VR games, man. And I just haven't had the time to put into it because it's just been like all GDExtension all the time. So that's what I'm thinking. 4.2 is supposed to release in like the first week of November. So that's kind of the timeline that we're on here. I wish there were more hours in the day. Thank you, Patrick. I've been doing what I can. And you know, open source being built on consensus, things always go slower than you hope they will, but thank you. The rollback should be core. I disagree, honestly. Rollback netcode is so niche. Like, it's great in the situations it's great in, and it's way too much work in almost every other situation. I think most games probably don't actually want to do rollback netcode, and I think it's better for them if they don't. But yeah, I do want to have it supported on Godot 4, and so that it's an option for the games that it is a good fit for, like fighting games, like some RTSs, like you know, other games that would benefit from being peer-to-peer with small player numbers and all of that. But yeah. You start on Unity and Fishnet, but after Unity, you want to switch to Godot. Oh, cool. Yeah. Very cool. I really want to get back to it. You know what's funny is I started working on GDExtension entirely so that I could port the rollback netcode add-on to Godot 4, right? Because it was I was thinking like, well, I could port the rollback netcode add-on, but that's not really very useful without SGPhysics 2D. Because you do need to have deterministic physics if you use physics in your game. And SGPhysics 2D is a deterministic 2D physics engine for Godot. So I'm like, I'll do that first. That should be easy. I'll port that to GDExtension for Godot 4. And then it turned out that GDExtension was in such a broken state, I had to kind of like drop everything and start contributing to GDExtension. And now apparently, like, I'm the main contributor to GDExtension. Like, that was weird. How'd that happen? But very, very soon, I think I should be able to slow down a little bit on GDExtension and get back to working on the rollback netcode add-on. Anyway, guys, it is now 11:04. I gotta get going. I have to bring this stream to an end. I gotta eat some lunch and then go to a work meeting. But thank you so much for coming to the stream. We did some good stuff, guys. Like, there is, in fact, like one change that is just a straight up bug fix that we should maybe just push before we go, if it's not like mixed in with so much other code. There was that fix for Godot CPP's hot reload support, which I think is in classes wrapped. Yeah, let's just push this. Let's just push this change. See what the other stuff is. Yeah, okay, that's just debug code. And let me just take one quick look at the whole diff before I push this, because I am like actively trying to get people to test these PRs. Yeah, let's push it. Anyway, thanks again, everyone. I hope you have a great weekend. I will see you on the Discord over here or at the next stream. I think I should be streaming next week. So yeah, take care, everyone. Bye-bye.